வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன். வாழ்க வேதாத்ரியம், குருவே துணை. Good evening. On behalf of Research and Development Directorate of World Community Service Center, it's a great pleasure for me to welcome all SKY intellectuals present in this session once again to another interesting session of the Consciousness 360 Conclave on behalf of Research and Development Directorate of World Community Service Center. We all know that Consciousness 360 is the new name for the conclave of scientific minds with spiritual search guided by the great philosopher of the 20th century, Vethathiri Maharishi, in analyzing and taking his concepts to the scientific fraternity. Consciousness is the essence of everything, and by understanding its nature and realizing it as a part of oneself makes one humble, full of love and compassion. In this journey, we have today with us another eminent speaker from Melbourne, Australia, Professor B. Parthasarathy. He is going to address us on the topic, Who am I? Interesting, isn't it? We are used to asking, who are you only? We have never pondered over the question, who am I? And never tried to understand ourselves. We have always pointed fingers towards others, but not to our own thoughts and actions. It is only the SKY practices advocated by the Guru Vethathiri Maharishi which has turned us inward to ponder over who am I and what am I supposed to do to attain the goal of this birth. Before we proceed, a few words of introduction about our speaker today. Professor Arundhati Parthasarathy was born and brought up in his native village, Sangeeta Mangalam. He completed his schooling there and did his degree on mechanical engineering. He worked for an automobile industry in Chennai and later in an aerospace company in Singapore for 6 years. Here he learned the SKY Yoga practices at the STA SKY Center in Singapore from eminent SKY professors and went on to complete Vision Diploma, Advanced Diploma, and also BSc and MSc, all in Yoga for Human Excellence. He is currently employed in Melbourne, Australia, and he is the founder member of Victoria SKY Meditation Society, which is affiliated to WCSC. He is a true Vedathrian in service for the last 12 years at Victoria SKY Meditation Society, and currently he is its secretary also. A sincere and dedicated Vedathrian doing yeoman service to spreading of Vedathriam in a foreign country. A very warm welcome to you, sir. We are eagerly awaiting to hear from you on your topic for today, consciousness and who am I? Over to you, sir.
வாழ்க வளமுடன், குருவே துணை. Can you all hear me?
Sir, we can hear you. We can see your presentation, but your video is not. You want to switch on.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Can you all see me and hear me now, right? Yep. வாழ்க வளமுடன். வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வையகம். Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt, sir. We can't see you. We are just able to see your presentation. Voice is clear.
The video is on. I can see my video here.
Okay, sir. Right.
Okay.
Fine, sir. Proceed. Thank you, sir.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். குரு வாழ்க குருவே துணை, சிந்தனையை உடல் நலத்தை சீரமைத்து உயிரித்த குருவே வாழ்க. May the divine power guide us, protect us, lead us in all our activity, day and night, at all time, at all the places. Salutation to Mother, salutation to Father, salutation to Guru Vethathiri Maharishi. Salutation to our WCC President Padmasri SK Maya. Salutation to all our directors of WCC. Salutation to senior professors, Arunidiyas, and all Sky Yoga practitioners. Salutation to all intellectuals, leaders of all the sectors in the world. Be blessed by the divine. Today we are going to discuss about consciousness, who am I? In line with Vethathiri. Vethathiri is nothing but the truth. It is the life education. It is the moral behavior life education. The topic we are going to discuss, who am I? Who am I? Put a question for that. It is not easy to get answer for a layman. The question arose all the intellectuals' mind long ago. So for that answer, we get answer from our guru that we are going to see. Who am I? Am I the body? If say, am I the body cannot function it's alone. It is the joint function of the organs, glands, and the life energies, particles which is circulating the soul. So we cannot say the answer for that. Body is not the answer. So we cannot conclude. If you see, am I the mind? The mind also cannot function alone. It's a subjective phenomenon. It needs a body to function. It needs soul to function. The nature of the mind is extension of the life force, extension of the biomagnetic waves. So it cannot function alone. So we cannot say mind also for that answer. Am I the life force? Yes. If say yes, the life force also need, it functions joined together with various elements in the body, organs in the body, in a scientific way we can say. If the life force is detached from the body, it cannot function. So we cannot say answer for that, the life force. Who am I? Again putting the question, if you see, am I the consciousness? Yes, we can say here, am I the consciousness? That we are going to see now in detail. So as we see, who am I? For that answer is basically self-realization, realizing the truth, realizing the oneself. From there, realizing the divinity, realizing the nature. So that is called a realization. Self-realization is realization of consciousness. This signifies perfection of a human being in evolutionary process of nature and achievement of final goal of realizing the unified force in human life. So the realization is understanding oneself. Who am I? For that questions, getting answer for that. Think deep oneself, how the body is functioning, how the mind is functioning, how the life force is functioning. These three are joined together, how it is functioning in the body. What is driving for this? To understand that it is called a self-realization. From there, trace our origin and finally go to the the origin of origin, that is the divine realization. As a common man, we may think, why should we do self-realization? Because this question is arise to only intellectual's mind only. Self-realization. Who am I answer? Who are my questions arise from the intellectuals. For the common people, they may ask, why should we do self-realization? So for that, a lot of answers for that. Why do we need self-realization? Take a just a topic, a small topic, harmony in a relationship. Harmony in, make harmony in everywhere. Start harmony in oneself, within oneself. How to keep harmony within oneself. How to keep harmony in the family. How to keep harmony in the working place. How to keep harmony within the friends. So what is the base? Why dispute happening? Why misunderstanding happening? So what is the core principle? What is the differences of opinions, differences of words and deeds when having some conversation? So to make a harmony in all relationship, the core principle also self-realization. But the utmost thing is the purpose of human birth to attain self-realization, but to live in a society, to live in a community in a beneficial way, we can say harmony in all the relationships. So for that self-realization is nothing but to understand the history of the man, the sixth sense man, evolution in the evolutionary process of nature, how the sixth sense living being exists. To understand this is called self-realization. So for that, for the realization, before going for the realization, we need to understand ourselves in more detailed way. So to understand ourselves means to understand our body function, mind function, and life energy of it is functioning in our body, and further in genetic center and biomagnetism and much more things. So we will cover up. Once we see this one, then we will go cover up in inorganic matters. So origin of man and the greatness of the sixth sense. So the origin of the man is the greatness of the sixth sense. In the evolutionary process of nature, man is a sixth sense creature, having all the potential to understand and to understand the nature. How the nature is functioning, how it is existing, how it is functioning with a pattern, precision, regularity. How the living beings are existing, how it came into existence, to understanding oneself. So all these are called the greatness of sixth sense, the greatness of the sixth sense. So speciality of the mind is the gift for the sixth sense, speciality of the mind. That is actually sixth sense to the mankind. So how the mind is functioning basically, if you understand, so that we can be able to go nearer to the self-realization. If you don't understand, then it is a bit harder to reach to the self-realization. So if you see the speciality of the mind, the medical science invented how the mind is functioning in different ways in line with the nature, different waves. One is the beta wave, another one is the alpha wave, then third one is the delta wave. Beta, alpha, theta, and the delta wave. So everything is a frequency. They call it as a frequency. Beta wave is working between 14 to 40 cycles per second. Alpha wave is working 8 to 13 cycles per second. Theta is working 4 to 7 cycles per second. And the delta is working 1 to 3 cycles per second. So frequencies of the mind waves in line to the universe cosmic, if you say, the delta wave is the space, the divinity wave, 1 to 3 cycles. 4 to 7 cycles, that is universe, dynamic state wave. If we come to 18 to 13 cycles, alpha wave, little bit more frequency, higher frequency than the theta wave. So that we can say in meditative state, apna and duriya. Whereas 4 to 7 is the Duryadida, and 1 to 3 is the Duryadida, 4 to 7 is the Durya, and 8 to 13 is Agna meditation stage, the frequency stage. And 14 to 40 beta wave, that is the normal people frequency, mental frequencies, functioning at 14 to 40 cycles per second due to habit, circumstances, and temperamental mood. So in that situation, the mind is functioning 14 to 40 cycles per second. So the mind functions induced by emotional state naturally to the human, but however we can able to bring it down to the lower state. So the beta waves, alpha waves, theta waves, delta waves, it is shown in the picture how it is. Beta waves, how fast it is going, and alpha waves, lesser frequencies, theta wave, delta waves. So mind waves and their workings, as we discussed, beta is emotional state, alpha is calm state, theta is the creativity and the inventions. Mostly theta states is scholars and intellectuals are over there by nature. That is a gifted soul, we can say. The cosmic waves comes by the birth. The lower frequencies, which is exist in the universe, that is naturally comes along with the birth. So according to that, the cells of the each and every person's body, that category person's body should be lower frequencies. The biomagnetism which is existing in the body. And the delta waves. If you take the delta waves, naturally scientists and gurus and rishis, our Vethathiri Maharishis, always in delta wave status. So these are the mind waves functioning to the human beings. The mind waves is functions of the human beings. So if we are in the emotional state, we cannot able to understand oneself. We cannot able to live happy, peace, and a harmonious relationship wherever we go. We cannot able to keep harmonious relationship in our surroundings at beta waves. So that we have to bring down our waves to the lower. That we see how we can able to bring down. For that, we need new pattern of life. We need new pattern of life. What is a new pattern of life? So nothing is new. Our guru is synthesized and given in a structured way, in a syllabus, easy to follow. These educations is not available elsewhere in the world. As we are studying literacy, numeracy, professional qualifications, and we are earning and we are doing different jobs according to our skill set. But there are two education which is missing. Swamiji used to say, understanding the nature, society, and moral behavior education. So that only the new pattern of life. So in that, philosophy of life, analysis of thoughts, moralization of desires, neutralization of anger, eradication of worry, finally self-realization. So we are talking about self-realization. To reach to the self-realization, there are few steps we need to overcome. So for that, we have to understand what is philosophy of life in detail. Somebody has touched that subject, philosophy of life. What is the purpose of the life? What is the need of the life? What is the protection of the life? And the virtues and the perfections. So analysis of thoughts. What is thought? How the thought is arised? So all the definitions will be learned. Understanding, thought analysis, moralization of the desires. Without desires, no such living being exists in the world. So desires is the only the reasons all the living beings are existing. So that desires need to be moralized, especially to the mankind, it has to be moralized. Then anger, neutralization of anger. So anger cannot be there. It has to be neutralized. When the anger arises, it has to be neutralized. Eradication of worry. Worry drains our energy, so it has to be eradicated. So if we follow step by step all those things, our energy level will be there. Swamiji has given correct word that is called biomagnetism. The intensified biomagnetism will be there in our body that induce us to go for self-realization. So one can able to understand oneself by proper guidance, by proper class, yogic class with scientific explanations, which is our Sky Yoga practice. So consciousness, now we will see consciousness. What is consciousness? Consciousness is divinity. All things in universe, living and non-living, are manifestation of the divinity. So consciousness, self-compressive surrounding pressure force, is called consciousness. It has 4 characteristics, inherent qualities, inherent characteristics for the consciousness, that is plenum, force, consciousness, and time. So the divine state, the consciousness, how it transformed, because of that, it is a stock force characterized by the plenum, consciousness, and time. Its quality is the self-compressive surrounding pressure force, which has resulted in kinematic power. So the 4 characteristics, the time is the kinematic current. It has very tiny vibes. So based on that, based on the self-compressive surrounding pressure force, the divinity itself compressed and formed into a formative dust particles. Fundamental infinite energy particle or primary particle, which is named as Vedan. So formative dust particle. The formative dust particle which came from the divinity. So fundamental and infinite small energy particle is the first transformation of the divinity. Energy particles. The fundamental dust particle which came from the divinity, again the nature of the divinity giving pressure to the fundamental primary energy particle, it started to spinning. It started to spinning. So the more fundamental energy particle, dust particle, joined together and form a energy particle. So first thing is the divinity is having the nature of self-compressive surrounding pressure force. Due to that, transform into formative dust particle. The formative dust particles, again, by the pressure of the divinity, it creates a magnetism. Because of the divinity pressure, the formative dust energy particles are rotating, and also there is a friction happening. That friction is called shadow wave particle, but that shadow wave particle also cannot travel along in the universe because of the, again, the pressure of the divinity. It transforms into wave. It transforms into wave. So that is called a universal magnetism. That is called universal magnetism. So that universal magnetism is the divine energy working as a divine energy in all the inorganic matters, that universal magnetism. So the the divine state from the dust particle, then all the dust particles join together, then form a energy particles. So if you see in the picture, all the energy particles are rotating itself. The energy particles contains lots of dust particles. So it comes into Vethathiri mode of unified force. What we discussed is, the first one is eternal space, unified force. The next one is fundamentals and the infinitesimal energy particle. Third one is shadow wave particle, that is the magnetism, universal magnetism, which is there in the universe, that is called universal magnetism, which is there, the same magnetism in the human being and all the living being, that is called the biomagnetism. Evolution and the functions of the universe. So space, dust particle, energy particle, then all the association of the energy particles comes into molecules and planets and all materials, meteors, satellites, everything. So the fundamental thing in the universe is space, air, fire, water, air. All the combination of the first element become second element. Yeah, third element is fourth element is water, and the fifth element is earth. Evolution of living beings. Now we'll see evolution of the living beings. Roughly, we touched about the subject evolution of the functions of the universe according to Vethathiri. Evolution of living beings. Genetic center, biomagnetism. What is genetic center? What is biomagnetism? We see about the biomagnetism. We already discussed now universal magnetism. So the universe is formed based on 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, and air. So these 5 elements joined together in a holistic percentage, then it starts to evolve as a single sense. For that, the biomagnetism, which is existing in the universe, that is universal magnetism, that universal magnetism now changed into biomagnetism in a holistic proportion based on the 5 Buddha's combination, 5 elements combination. The biomagnetism starts circulating in a sealed area. So in that, any object, if start to rotate, it make a center, it make a vertex. So that center is called the genetic center. The genetic center is nothing but it is the center of the biomagnetism. So that is the core treasure. Genetic center is the core treasure, divine treasure. So from that, all the secrets starts, the secrets of the universe starts carried over by the center. All the rotating object have the center, but comes into living being, stored from the genetic center, then evolving from single sense plants, two sense, then from the single sense living being to two sense living being, worms. The biomagnetism works in a single sense living beings as a touch sensation. If it comes into two sense, example worms, the biomagnetism transform into taste, tongue organs evolve it. The three sense evolution example is insects. Here smell transformation is happening. The nose is stopping. The fourth sense is reptiles, sight and eyes. Fifth sense is birds and mammals, hearing, ears happening. So the sixth sense, man. Man is the top of the crust of the Earth's evolution. So man can only to realize the beauty of the nature, realize the consciousness. So that is the beauty of the sixth sense. Consciousness in living being function as pattern, precision, regularity in inorganic matters. Comes into living being. In addition to that, the consciousness is functioning as cognition, experience, and a discrimination. Pattern, if you see pattern, it is measured in terms of length, breadth, and depth of the objects. If you take any object in the universe, they have a shape, they have a pattern, length, breadth, width, height, circumstances. So we can say, so that is called the pattern. So that is given by the nature. Precision reveals the qualities of the divine state in terms of numbers. So if we take elements, every elements have certain numbers or molecules of any objects. So that is have particular number of atoms joined together and give that shape. So that is not a precision, that is a pattern. But if it comes into precision, how it is joined, how it is rotating inside to make the shape, to join and transform into the next shape. So that is precision. To that particular combination only, it will transform into the another shape. So regularity, changes in the speed of rotation of the particles in terms of numbers. That is regularity. So we can say the regularity, for an example, the Earth is rotating along its axis and also it is rotating itself and in the inclination of 23.5 degree. Due to that, we have seasons. So that is given by the nature, that is a regularity. So that is not changing, that is happening in a regular way, regularity. So the evolutionary process of nature, if you see in the evolutionary process of nature, for an example, how the consciousness is functioning everywhere with pattern, precision, regularity, and the cognition, experience, and discrimination. And also, another characteristics of the nature is a transformation, mutation, and cause and effect. So if you see the evolutionary process of butterfly, how it is, butterfly is coming, that everybody knows, even children knows this. They will tell you a big story. So it starts from the egg, then caterpillar, then pupa, then adult emerges, then adult. So egg to caterpillar, caterpillar eat everything outside world, then come into the pupa. closes itself and come out as a beautiful butterfly. So what's happening inside? Who's changing all those things? That is consciousness. That is consciousness. So if you see in the mankind, how the consciousness functioning in anatomy and physiology way. So the greatness of functions and its function and its the greatness of consciousness and how it is functioning in the human body organs. For example, if you say, so we see our upper limbs, it is less using for us. If you see the upper limbs, we are using more. If you see our lower limbs, we are using less. So who created in this way? The upper limbs are mostly used for painting, writing, cooking, all the major of the work, creativity, anything we use our upper limbs. Our lower limbs also very important for walking, for our day-to-day life, other work, playing sport. So these creations, these things done by the consciousness, the upper limbs, all the fingers, we need 5 fingers. How it is coordinated with the brain to work according to our need. The lower limbs, again, coordination with the brain, how it is functioning. So all these things are given by the consciousness. First, the transformation is given by the consciousness. Then the functions, coordinations, everything come into it is anatomy. It's a full of science. I'm not going to touch that one. There are some errors in the slides. Sorry for that. So if we take our bodies, it will be categorized into 3 types, which is physical body, astral body, and the causal body. In a philosophical way, it is categorized into 3 types. The physical body, if we take physical body, as everybody knows that it's based, the fundamental base for the physical body is the cell, the tissues, bones, organs, glands, all joined together appear as a physical body. Or we can say the combination of the Panchaphutas. So coming to astral body, the astral body, how it is functioning, we can say the astral body is a tiny energy particles which is there in the body. It is having the nature of self-rotation and it is rotating all over the body, and it is having the body that is called astral body. Astral body is nothing but it is the life force body. It is a life force body. Causal body. What is causal body? The astral body is rotating in the body. The consciousness also existing, all the living beings. So because of the consciousness, the divinity, the nature of the divinity is self-compressive surrounding pressure force. So it's the same pressure force giving to the life force. So because of that, there is a friction happening. So due to that, there is a body friction happening. Due to that, there is wave coming. That wave is called biomagnetism. So the causal body is the biomagnetism body. Astral body is the life force body. Physical body is the entire organs giving a shape and looks giving a shape and looks as a physical body. So the physical body is made up of organs, bones, tissues, blood, muscles, nerves, and endocrine glands. The astral body generates with precision to give birth to the causal body. So the causal body cannot happen without astral. Without life energy particles, there is no biomagnetism. So for the biomagnetism, the astral body is important. But the causal body is orchestrated only by the consciousness. So if it comes into causal body, it is completely consciousness. Completely consciousness. So these three bodies are joined together again. The astral body and the causal body we cannot see with our sensory organs. We cannot see with our sensory organs. However, we can able to feel it, but they can able to picture it by modern equipments. But generally, we can see only physical body. So 9 centers. We have 9 energy centers, as everybody knows: Duriya, Magna, Visakti, Anahata, Manipuragam, Swadhisthana, and Mooladhara. These are the energy centers, and also in medical term, endocrine glands. So the lower 3 chakras deals with the physicality. So which is Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, and Manipur. And the upper 2 chakras, Agna and Duriya, operate the spiritual plane. Upper 2 chakras is the Jnana chakras. To attain, to realize oneself, the journey starts from Agna. For the self-realization, the actual journey starts from Agna, Duriya, then further. The causal body is orchestrated only by the consciousness. So the middle 2 chakras, Anahata and Visakti, deal with the Yar and Akash. Connected to the Yar and Akash, the 5 elements which exist in the universe. So let me roughly we understand the evolutionary process of nature, how the 6th sense living being came into exist. If we go backward 6 to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, from there all the planets. Then further, if you go back, we can able to reach the consciousness. So from the consciousness transforms into one stage to another stage, then come to the 6th sense living being. So early man, if you think about the early man, how he used to live in the world. So he started to live in the caves, forest, like animals. Then after that, he started to, the thinking process started, then all the languages born, then the writing, the communications, sharing the feelings and the emotions, then understanding the environment, then sometimes fear of the disasters. Till now, even in the modern era, for disasters happening, there is a fear to the human nature. So let's see the poem in Jnana Kalanjiyam, what Swamiji has given, the core principle of the self-realization. Animal genetic sperm connections started the great human creation, expanded over the years. Over generations arrived at this stage, humans living. Over generations arrived at this stage, humans living over many countries with the boundaries of culture, race, caste, creed and rulings by wealth, fame, and essential attachments. Over many years, today living in the computer era, think about ourselves for a moment. Rehabilitate ourselves by changing unwanted habits, merge thoughts with the absolute, attain perfection via Sayaha. That's a Jnana Kalanjiyam poem 288. So now we roughly understand self-realization. What is self-realization? Is understanding oneself. So we know roughly what is body. 3 types of body: physical body, astral body, causal body. We know roughly about mind. The mind is nothing but it's the extension of the life force. It's the extension of the life force, and the biomagnetic waves functioning as the mind. The sixth transformation of the biomagnetism functioning as the mind. So mind is naturally, it is wave. Naturally, it is having the wavering. So to understand the mind functions, to understand how the thoughts are arising time to time, so how to keep it in a good, how to keep the good thoughts, how to lower our frequencies, how to lower our mind frequencies through yogic practice, that is called self-realization. For that, simplified Kundalini Yoga practices helps for self-realization. Practices, if comes into practices, there are two main important practices. As everybody knows, purification of the mind, for that meditation, and purification of the deeds, we need introspection. Meditation is again simply focusing our mind onto our life energy, because mind is nothing but it is the extension of the life energy. If it comes into purification of deeds, we need a good deeds. For that, we need to self-examine oneself. So that is called introspection. Introspection is self-examining oneself. So through that practice only, we are ended up into self-realization. So cause and effect. So cause and effect is the divine characteristics. Transformation, mutation, cause and effect. So comes into cause and effect. We need to, only human can able to understand the cause and effect, how it is functioning everything in the universe. Whatever the action we do, the result is manifestation of the divinity. So every action has certain result. So if we need a good result, we need to do good things. If you do the bad things, we ended up with the bad result. It's cause and effect. So man need to live with the cause and effect principles, understanding the cause and effect principles. For that, has to understanding again oneself through the self-realization. So from that, we can able to live a virtuous life. So virtuous life is morality, duty, and charity. The combination of discipline, morality, and charity. So through this way only we can able to attain purification oneself step by step by living a virtuous life, understanding oneself, living in a virtuous life. From that we can able to attain purification, then we can able to attain perfection, then from that we can able to get a divine realization, consciousness knowledge in connection with our scientific evidence. We are living in scientific era. So human feelings, if you see human feelings, a result. What is the result? Human feelings result, pleasure, pain, peace, and ecstasy. So if you don't understand the cause and effect principle, if you don't understand the mind functions, so normally we will go through pleasure or pain. We are unable to touch peace and the ecstasy stage. But we need pleasure, peace, and ecstasy only. We don't want pain. No one like pain. We can able to avoid the pain. Even Swamiji used to say, there is no pain in the nature. That is all created by the human, by ignorance, by his own ignorance. So by understanding the self-realization, one can able to avoid pain. One can able to live with the pleasure. Start from the pleasure, you can move on to peace. Then from the peace, one can able to go to ecstasy. So by understanding again self-realization. From that, one can be able to perform his 5 duties in a full of happiness and enthusiastic way. That is 5 duties which is given by our Swamiji again. This is the one really I'm very much impressed and experienced by some prolonged period of time. At my age of 25, duty means only to earn money, I know. I don't know anything. What is duty beyond that? When I started to learn Sky Yoga, I mesmerized myself by simple ways Swamiji has given, categorized. The first thing is self. Coming to self, understanding again oneself. Understanding his own body functions, mind functions, and how the life energies exist in the body. So all these educations we are learning, and to keep a holistic health and following the practices. So that is a duties for self, to keep healthy body, simplified physical exercise, for a healthy mind, meditation, for noble character, introspection. So these are the duties to the self. Come into family, again, look after that. Elderly people, and look after our children to earn our livelihood. Neighbors, relatives, to a certain extent, we need to help them. Coming to community, country, community. We are living in the community as a group. We are not stand alone and living alone, join together and living as a community. So what is my role to the community? How can I contribute to the community? We are enjoying every day-to-day life, so many things. In this modern world, we have like good house, good transportation, communication devices. So all these things are manufactured, joined together and coming to our hand, manufactured by different peoples, manufactured by different area, by effort of all peoples. So coming to our hand, we are enjoying it. So in due, what can I give back? So again, world, if you take to the world, definitely in each and everybody using at least one product from any of the nations. So that might be essential product. We cannot say without that I can able to live, because the world is now joined together, connected together. So what I will return to the world as my duties. So in that way, the mind will get expanded for the duty consciousness. The duty consciousness blossom from the self-consciousness. Swamiji has given importance to the duty in a simple point. See the unity of the world in every morsel of food. Pay back your dues to the society in a good way. Conclusion. Now coming to conclusion. So what we are going to get through the self-realization. So we need harmonious in all relationship. That's very important. Harmonious in all relationship. So only one identity blossom beyond all the barriers, that is human beings. Only one identity will blossom definitely. The love and compassionate will blossom to fellow beings. So understanding the cause and effect, based on that, our duties will perform. So all the sources from highlights of Vethathiri model of unified force, the world order of holistic unity, and the Jnana Kalanjiyam book, all written by Guru Vethathiri Maharishi. Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to record my immense gratitude and thanks to WCSC Director Rabindranath Ayya and all his team. Thank you all, Thank you all, for the opportunity, and thank you all my supporting team from Australia. வாழ்க வளமுடன். குருவே துணை.
நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின்